What up, YouTube? So this is going to be part 6 of the Honda Civic K20 Type R ED3 build, and today we're going to be trying to get this car hopefully started. We just need to get a couple more things done, which is our fuel system. So what we're going to be doing is running our feed to the filter right here, and then other side of this we're going to be running a 8AN to a 6AN fitting, because we're running a 6AN fitting line. So that's going to go ahead and feed to our fuel rail, and then our return is at the bottom right here. So we're just gonna get a little coupler to come basically to the right, and that'll return right here. And then we're also gonna be starting to do our wiring as far as getting everything connected. Since we don't have a conversion harness, we're gonna be making one. And this is an 05 to 06 harness, so that's the reason why they are a little different. I'm pretty sure some people out there are making their own already, but we're gonna go ahead and just do it ourselves. So first thing we're gonna start doing is getting these two extended. One's gonna be for a starter and the other one's gonna be for alternator. So we're gonna be extending one to the alternator and the other one to the fuse box. So that'll get us power for the starter and then charging power for the alternator. And then we can go, well, this right here is the adapter for temperature sensor. So we're just gonna run this line all the way back inside for the gauge cluster, which should be this plug right here. I believe that goes to the cluster and everything. So we're going to be tapping into all these wires right here. Like I said, this one's the alternator from the last video if you guys didn't see. This one should be our temperature right here. This should be our oil pressure, and the rest should be grounds and ignition for our relay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting some of this knocked out, and I start to figure out where some wires need to go. So I'm gonna figure out that, and then I'll also show you guys how to do a base map on the K-tune, which I'll just show you guys in the spider, so you guys can see exactly how to set it up when you're doing a K-swap. And then yeah, we'll just come back and see which wires we need to figure out so we can get this thing hopefully to start up today. So I'm gonna go ahead and start knocking out some of these wires and then getting the fuel system lined up, and then we'll come back. Alright, so now it's time to start with this wiring. So this is your C101 plug. I'm actually using an 02 to 04 C101, so on some stuff I'm gonna have to figure out, but I figured we'd start off with the easiest stuff. So I started with the starter signal wire. So this is just your signal wire from the actual K-swap, and you need to connect it to your ignition for the chassis. So that's gonna be this one. As you can see, this one came from the actual starter, so we're gonna be connecting these two wires together, so we'll have starter signal. And then we got our red yellow, which is oil pressure, so that's really simple. That's also coming off the C101 plug. These other two wires, these are for your reverse. This wire is for speed, but since speed is coming off of the E plug, we won't be using this wire. And then this one I believe is fan, which actually isn't connected from 06, so I guess we won't be using that wire at all either. We'll figure out another way to get the fan to turn on. And then you got these three wires, which is 9, 14, and number 20. These are ECU powered. You don't want to put these to a unswitched power, or you need these to an unswitched power. No, I'm sorry, a switch power. So switch power means the ignition, when it turns on, it sends power through a relay. So never power these with a 12-volt power directly. And then you got these four right here. These are for your O2 sensor. So since this is 06 wiring, on the other side the ground isn't actually present there, so these three wires, the green, yellow, green, and this red one, these two are gonna be, I believe, the powers, and then these ones are usually the ground and power at the bottom. So you're gonna have to retap this one to, I believe, A1 from the plug on the ECU. So we'll come back to that on that, but that's later. So this is O2 sensor. So right now we're just gonna be connecting our starter signal, oil pressure, and then we'll start figuring out all these other wires. I just want to kind of get you guys understanding of the C101 plug, and then we'll hop onto the E plug after. So I'm gonna start connecting some of these wires and then we'll come back. All right, so we're back now, and now I can show you guys the fuel system and how I ran it. This is just temporary right now. I still do have to put on some clamps and everything, but I did say this one was my feed. It's not, it's actually this one. So I got my feed right here to the fuel filter, which is going to regulate through all here and then come over to the fuel rail. And then, as you can see, it dumps down and returns to right here. So very simple system. This is the returnless way. Like I said, you guys could come around this way and come on this side and filter out through the other way. There's multiple ways of running fuel system, but this is the way I usually run it. So right now, I actually also ran my wire for my temperature, so I can start showing you some of the wiring I did. All right, so that wire is running to this yellow green wire off of this plug. Not sure what this plug is called. Not too used to working on EFs. But yeah, so we got that one going. We'll come back to, we got a couple ignitions from our relay. So let me show you that. So this red white wire has to go to a switched power, and then which other one did I use? Okay, and then these yellow and black wires also need to go to switched power. So I ran that to this one right here. So that should be good. It shouldn't pop. It's already fused, so we don't have to run a fuse to that. So we got our starter signal as well from the C101. So we got that connected to the car. I just gotta tape that up. And then we got the oil pressure sensor, yellow, red. That's going to, let me get some of this stuff out the way. All right, so we got yellow, red going to yellow, red on this plug. So we have oil pressure so far, and we have a starter signal. Next, I went ahead and tapped the alternator wire. This is the blue white, which goes to blue white on the B plug right here. So that's how your alternator is gonna know to switch on, and your battery light basically. Oh, and the other wire we did so far was tachometer. So we took the solid blue and connected it to the solid blue on the E plug, which is, I believe, E25. And then since this is an EF, we will be taking the blue wire and white wire, which is our speed sensor, and we're either going to connect it to a JDM cluster, or we're going to do, I believe, the the hybrid Civic 2001 cluster maybe in here. So we'll figure out the speed sensor wire later. Other than that, I reconnected, this is, I believe, the main relay wire. And then I also connected E9 to an ignition to the black and white, or black and yellow wire. So got ignition connected to that as well. Other than that, we got to start figuring out these wires right here. We're going to connect these to a power, switch power source, so we can have our ECU power. And yeah, I think after this, I start wrapping some of these up. I still got to look up some wires, but I'll show you guys how to install the ktuner onto your laptop for people who have never done it for the first time. So you guys can see how that works out. So I'm gonna go ahead, wrap some of these wires up, and then we'll come back and show you guys how to do the ktuner base map. All right, so we're back now. Got the dash in, and I connected the cluster and all the wiring to the fuse box and everything, so I can kind of test this thing out, so I can show you guys what you guys need exactly to do to get the car started. So I'll start with the C101. So the C101, let's see, this green white wire right here, I connected it to, let's see, this plug right here, and I connected it to green yellow, which should be pin number 4. And then I took apart, let's see, I think it's on, hold on, let me check. So I also took pin 18 off of here, which is going to be, hold on, I can't really see. Pin 18, okay, it's green red, so that's electronic load detector, and it's usually going to go to the E-plug. And it's usually the same color, but since this is a TSX E-plug, some plugs are a little bit different. So on this one, I connected it to, I believe, the blue-black wire. So it should be plug number E15. So that's electronic load detector. If any other car, it'll most likely be green with the red stripe. So I connected that. And then since this plug didn't have E31 for the check engine light, I took one out of an extra car I had and I tapped that in. So I tapped the E31, which is this pink one, which is usually green orange, and I just tapped it to the green orange right here off of the same plug that I took the ELD and the fan. So I got that right here. I believe that's maybe pin number 6. Either way, it's gonna be green orange. So that's our check engine light, our fan, and our electronic load detector. Those are the 3 wires you'll be taking off to connect, like I said, to the fan relay on here, which I hope works. I haven't actually tested it out, but that should be right. I know the electronic load detector and the check engine light is right. Other than that, I've also connected the starter wire to the starter. So, and I connected the fuse box to the battery. So hopefully right now, when I plug in the ground, we can get a starter signal. So we're just gonna make sure that our starter signal is good and that we got, you know, I'm probably gonna have to come back. I have to go get the key real fast. So we'll come back right now. We're gonna go for a start real quick. Well, not a startup, just make sure the starter's actually working. All right, so I got the key back. And right now I'm just testing literally out the starter, nothing else. Just wanna make sure this thing cranks. All right, so starter's working and I seen fuel flying. So my fuel is good as well. I didn't actually touch anything on the fuel. I was gonna use this relay and everything, but I think since it's still connected through the main relay, I don't have to touch anything as far as that. So I'm just gonna leave that how that is. Other than that, I got all my powers and everything connected that I showed you guys from through the ignition. Those 3 wires I was telling you about, 9, 14, and number 20. Like I said, I just attached them to the black and yellow wire, which is your ignition wires in here. Other than that, I believe we can, let's see, start connecting the ECU. But before I do that, I have to tighten down the fuel system. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this down. I gotta get clamps, tighten this all down, and then we can start connecting our injectors. I still got to tighten down the intake manifold, and we still need the TPS sensor, idle control valve, and then we also need 2 more grounds. I already put the transmission ground. In order for you to check the starter, the transmission has to be grounded or the starter will not work. So just make sure you do have at least your ground for your starter. We're going to be putting a ground on the intake manifold and then 1 more on the side cover. So right now I'll probably just go ahead and start doing the grounds and wait for Brandon to come give me the clamps and stuff, and then we can start getting to the fuel pressure, and hopefully we can give you the first time start of this car on the first try. So we'll go ahead and start knocking out these grounds and getting everything tightened up. Johnny's over here finishing the tab for the bottom. So we'll get that going, and then we got to install a radiator fan as well. So still got a couple more things to go, but we're gonna go ahead and try to get this thing at least started for you guys, and then probably end the video after that. So go ahead and start knocking some things out, and we'll come back. All right, so we are back now, and we're gonna go over everything we did so far right now. So I got the fuel, everything's perfect, ready to go. As far as that, everything's tightened up. I went ahead and I got the intake manifold all tightened up. I got my ground right here for the intake manifold. I got my ground for the side cover. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. It's just connected to the side cover with a 10. And then our fourth one, which is this one, especially if you're running a Honda intake manifold gasket, you have to run the ground right here, or you won't have a ground at all. Other than that, I got the TPS on here, map, idle control valve, intake air temperature sensor, pretty much. Oh, and the throttle cable. This throttle cable came from, I believe, a 96 to 2000 Civic EX, so that works pretty good as far as that. And then let's go inside real fast. So I connected the ECU already. So this is the E plug, and then the other two from the harness connect on this side. This was automatic, so don't get confused with the other two plugs right there. Other than that, everything's pretty much wired up to start. I'm not gonna say this is my first time because I did the first start up on Instagram, so I'll just show you guys real quick that it does crank up and start. And I'll also come back and show you guys how to do a map real fast too. So here it goes. I still got to do some adjusting. There's no fluid in here, so I'm not going to run it that long. Just wanted to show you guys this is the first startup. Yeah, pretty much ready to go. So right now I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. And we're going to go ahead and install the ktuner that he actually bought, so I can show you guys how to put a map on it. And that'll be the end of this video. Until the next one. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to do a little base map tune on ktuner. First thing you do have to do is register. I was going to show you guys how to do that, but unfortunately the other one didn't come with a cable, so I'm just going to let him borrow my ktuner until we get the cable for now. So we'll just do a basic map on here. So what I do is go to File and go to New Tune. Alright, so this all pops up. I'm gonna go with, let's see, k20a, JDM RSX, intake header exhaust, tune base map for k20a with intake header exhaust. That's perfect. So we're gonna run that, and then we're gonna put next. So you sure you want to close the current? Open tune, yes. All right, so it's logging in right now. So I guess now I can start going to the layouts of what we need to do here. So right here, I'm gonna go to main parameters. So we'll start with rev limiter. Let's see, 82, we'll go to 86. Which is perfect. We can go to 88, but 86 is good. Let's see, VTEC settings, 51. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go 55 though. I like the VTEC a little bit higher. And then disable monitors. So it says check to disable. So we want to disable secondary and primary for now. until we get an O2 sensor on here. Evap pressure, evap vent, and let's see, knock sensors connected, idle control valve. I'm not sure if the idle control valve is actually good right now, so I'm gonna disable that too. And then disable the P0600 for the communication link. Other here, it says OBD2 monitors unchecked to disable. Only thing I don't really need, I guess, is the catalyst. Evap emission control to disable. Evap, yeah, let's disable all that too. Other than that, that's pretty much like the basics that I do just to get the car running. Another thing, I am running an 0204 transmission, so I guess that's the reason why this is clicked like that. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's get this uploaded. So this is arrow right here. You just press the upload button. Please make sure everything is charged. Yeah, so make sure your laptop and everything has power, as well as the battery, and make sure your ECU and the car is all lit up in green, and your ignition should be on. So press yes. It's communicating, it's erasing the old map. And then it's gonna upload the new map I just put on here. Takes a little bit longer than Hondata. I know you guys are probably saying kpo is trash, but ktuner is trash, but it's actually really good. I mean, for the price, I mean, you can get an automatic ECU for about 50 bucks, and then it's like, I think 450, 500, and you basically have a fully tunable ECU, especially if you don't want to spend 1,000 or spend a 300 on a PRB 02-04 and then another 700 to have Hondata. So this is an alternate route. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, to me, it still does the same thing. So yeah, some people probably would say that they're just as good on ktuner than they are on Hondata as well. So it's all preference to me. But yeah, it's at 33. Like I said, Hondata does usually go a lot faster. I'd probably say it's probably a minute faster than ktuner. But for the price, you can't really beat it. So I would definitely stick with ktuner if you're basically doing like street driving or just some decent racing. If you want to go all out, I would recommend going like with the AEM or something, which is like full standalone system if you're trying to break like a 10-second car or whatever. But like I said, this is still good. It's connected. It says the reflash has finished. Please vehicle off and hit OK. After 5 seconds, key the vehicle on and then hit OK to continue. And that should be it. Everything's logged in, live setting. Let's go for the start real quick. Alright guys, so that's pretty much going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys learned a lot. We still got little stuff to do here and there, but that'll all be on the next video when we perfect it and hopefully take it out for a test drive. Still a couple more things we do have to get on this car so we can drive it, but other than that, it's basically there. So if you haven't liked, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, it's KSeriousWorks, and I'll see you guys next time.